aka GK Fralin. Call me Glenda, please. It is storming again. Isn't that sweet? Actually, the storm we had last night didn't affect the upload at all. It was done by midnight. I couldn't believe it. It was like, oh my Lord. I mean, it still took hours. I started at, I don't know, 9:30 or something, but nothing killed the internet, and it got uploaded by midnight, or by a little after midnight. So, happy camper there. Yeah, my hair is wet and it's not oily. But yeah. So anyway, hopefully this storm will not get nasty too bad. That sounded weird. But anyway, and I will be able to upload in good time tonight. But I'm a day sleeper anyway and a night crawler, so what can you say? Okay, this is kind of for Marcus, and I don't want to get anybody down in the dumps because we're not doing all the positivity today. Tell me a joke, I'll laugh any day of the week. Okay, Marcus wants to know about my journey with COPD, and I am very glad to tell that story. It's true, but it's still my story. I've talked a lot about COPD and other chronic conditions. A lot of it has been symptoms and stuff going through the stuff at copdfoundation.org. And that's all well and good. But whether or not I've talked about my personal journey, I don't think I've really stuck on that topic for a whole, So anyway, here is the start. I began smoking cigarettes when I was about 15. I was one of those that I'm never going to do that. Most kids are. I'm never going to do that. Just because, at that time, there was only just little rumblings about the possibility of it causing any kind of problems to your health. The Surgeon General didn't even come out with enforcing the warning on the cigarette packages until the mid to late 60s. So anyway, which was about the time I started. So anyway, I smoked from then pretty much on. And I am what is referred to often as a stress smoker. I don't know that I got to the point of chain smoking, although I got close. But when the stress was high, the amount of smoking was also high. Okay, as far as the COPD, I had started noticing problems with breathing heavily, but I had gained a lot of weight because of medication that I was on that is known to cause weight gain. And it slows your metabolism more. But it was necessary that I take the medication because I'm also bipolar, and it was my mood stabilizer. And those kinds of meds do tend to contribute to weight gain. And so anyway, I went from being a very active person up and down the halls as a nurse, running after kids and running up and down the streets, well, not running, but walking the blocks, with the dog and stuff, to starting to do the huffing and puffing. My doctor did mention the possibility that I might be getting COPD, but my lungs seemed to still be clear. So, what happened was in 2000, I'm trying to remember the month, but it was in the winter months, fall and winter months of 2005, I'm sorry. Thinking of a different thing that occurred to me. Anyway, I started coughing an awful lot of stuff, and I started coughing blood. And it's not just streaks of blood, it was copious amounts of blood. Anyway, not to gross you out, but that's the truth of the matter. And so I went to see an ENT because I thought, from all the coughing, possibly, I had irritated my throat really bad. But that much blood, you get that coming from a throat, you got an emergency situation. So, so I went up for a chest x-ray. And they found a significantly large nodule in my right lung. Yeah, my right lung. Anyway, they were just convinced that it was that it was cancer. Now, the pulmonologist I saw first, he wanted to bypass, because he was so sure that it was cancer, he wanted to bypass the worrying about biopsies and just go straight to a PET scan so they could target it quick. Because, as I said, this was significant. The insurance said, no, you have to do these tests first. And I'm glad for once that the insurance said no. But, although PET scan might have revealed that it wasn't very quickly, but anyway, I had to have my pulmonary function test done. I saw another surgeon. It was a cardiothoracic surgeon, sorry. Anyway, because the first one was done by my pulmonologist, and it was, they went down through my bronchial and all that and took a snip, but it was pretty much at the top of the growth. Anyway, and then that came back benign. I thought, okay, good, that's the end of it. No. He said, we got to get more into that thing because there's some cancer in there somewhere. It wouldn't be this large otherwise. From what I remember, it was about 7, I don't know, it was long. It was quite a few centimeters, we'll put it that way. And with all that, bleeding and stuff. Well, the cardiothoracic surgeon, he went through my neck, here, down through my trachea and into the lung itself. That was done under a general anesthetic, and took a little better snip. And I asked him, I said, if I really do have cancer, what happens? He said, with as large as this is, if you have cancer, it's not going to be operable. We're going to have to go at it with chemo and radiation and hope to shrink it. Now, my ears heard, we'll do that to see if we can give you a little more time. This was in 2005, and it is now 2017. Thank you. Anyway, the third biopsy was done as it was going to be the second biopsy was also negative. It was benign, no cancer. But my pulmonologist wanted to be absolutely sure, so he wanted a guided biopsy into the very center of that mass. Went in for that, and bless that doctor. They got me all prepped. They were doing it under I was relaxed with one of their medications. And he started to go in he didn't start the surgery, but he was getting me all prepped. And I said, did you look at my last x-ray and make sure that it hasn't gotten any bigger? Because this was my worry. He said, no, but I will. He came back and he said, Mrs. Freeland, I am sorry, but I don't do surgery on masses that are getting smaller. You talk about wanting to cry. However, by this time they had found that I actually did have emphysema and I had chronic bronchitis because of my history and, what they had found. So anyway, it was determined that I did indeed have COPD. I also do have smoking-related asthma. And you have to have at least 2 of those in order for them to classify it as COPD. Otherwise, they'll just treat the one disease you have. But the treatments are similar enough that they work them together if they put it into this syndrome of COPD. Anyway, we think that the mass was because of an earlier infection I'd had in a sinus, because they did say it could be infection related, and lymph nodes will swell. So evidently, something with all of that, abscess in there. When they started draining it, it was through a tooth. And how it got that bad without me noticing a big toothache, I don't know, but they said it does happen. Anyway, I believe that's how it all got started, because it, the respiratory route. So, that's my theory. They didn't give me one. Anyway, I did mention PFT. I didn't say what that was. It is a pulmonary function test. You blow into these things and these machines, and it determines just how well your lungs are, just how much air they're doing, or how well your lungs are actually functioning, how well you can push air out. Because that's really the real thing, is that with COPD, you build up carbon dioxide because your air sacs in your lungs are becoming paralyzed, and they become a lot like maybe a frozen balloon that just won't go down. So then there's also cilia, which are the little hair-like things in there that help to move your mucus outward. And those aren't working as well either. Basically, that's what it is. So constant working on deep breathing, breathing through diaphragm, pushing air out, this is important. So now I have had this diagnosis, and I've been on oxygen since early 2006. Yes, it has progressed from then. I used to pull and I can still walk, don't get me. I can still walk, I can still get around, I just can't go very far. Because it does progress. The only thing that's going to help me now is to be able to walk farther and stuff, is going to be to lose a lot of weight. And that's not an easy thing when you are pretty much stuck with low metabolism and low activity. I don't think I eat all that much. My family says I don't eat any more than they do, which eating even as much as they do is a big amount, considering where I'm at. But anyway, that is... I love you. I care about you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.